Hello, I'm Joseph Delaney, and I'm about to read you a second extract from the latest book, Brother Wulf, which is actually out on April the 16th. I'm gonna have to try and read from the computer, so I haven't got a book ready yet, and I might have a few problems, but never mind. I'll do my best. Here we go. This is where Wulf is about to meet Tom Ward. I didn't like the look of the crossroads when I reached them. As the butcher had told me, it was cloaked with big willow trees. They had drooping branches that hung almost to the ground, which looked even more sinister than it might usually, as the whole area was very gloomy, and it'd be dark soon. The storm seemed to have died away, and it was very quiet here too, like something was lurking nearby, causing all the birds and animals to hold their breath. I didn't like that eerie silence. Not one bit. I could see the bell and the rope hanging down, so wasting no time, I gave it a tug. The peal of the bell shattered the silence, and soon I was pulling it rhythmically, just as I did when it was my turn to join the bell ringers at the Abbey. After about 5 minutes of ringing, there had been no response, so I had a short rest. Where was the spook? I really hoped he was at home, but just as I was about to start ringing again, a hooded figure carrying a staff entered the trees and started walking towards me. I gulped. Was this the spook? He stopped about 5 paces away and pulled his hood from his head. If this was indeed the spook, I was shocked by how young he looked. He couldn't have been older than 19 or 20. Maybe he was just the spook's apprentice. Are you Mr. Ward, the spook? I asked tentatively. I am. What's your business? The man was tall and dark-haired and hadn't an ounce of fat on him. Although well worn, his black cloak was of a good quality, far superior to the habit which I wore. He wore neat grey breeches, but I was particularly impressed with his leather boots. They were his best, they were the very best quality, and must have cost a lot. Seemingly, being a spook, paid well, but his pleasant face was set in a stern expression. And he seemed to be unfriendly, but he was certainly being very brisk and businesslike. I wondered if it was because he was talking to an novitiate monk, like me. We're not often on the same side after all. I screwed up my courage, and I confess why I come. I'm here to ask for your help, with a very dangerous witch. I was stationed with another spook, down south, but when he tried to deal with it, everything went wrong, and now he's fallen into her hands, and I'm afraid for his life. I feel that it's my duty to try and help him, and as he mentioned your name before, I came here as quickly as I could. The man frowned. Where did this happen? Just south of Salford. It's taken me over 2 days to get here. And what's this spook's name? Spook Johnson. Yes, I've heard of him. He was once apprenticed to my own master, John Gregory. What were you doing in the company of a spook anyway? Ward asked. You look more like a young monk. And an apprentice. What do they call you? You're right. I'm not his apprentice. I'm a novitiate, near the end of my first year of training at Kersall Abbey. My name is Brother Wulf, and I've been working for Spook Johnson as a scribe. What does he need a scribe for? Ward asked, looking puzzled. He must be able to read and write, or he won't be a spook. An apprentice doesn't get taken on without some basic skills. He can write, but not half as well as I can. Mr. Ward smiled at that, and he looked truly friendly now, and I felt sure he would help. There was no time to waste. It's a long story, I explained. I'll tell you about it on the journey there. Ward nodded. Fine, I'll come. Sounds like whatever you're dealing with is pretty serious. But it's going dark and there's heavy rain on the way, so we'll leave it until morning to set off. I hadn't expected this. Given that one of his brother spooks was in danger, and I thought he'd behave with more urgency, perhaps I hadn't been clear enough. We should go now, I pleaded. There's no time to lose. I've told you. No. There's no way I'm trekking about with a novitiate monk in the dark of the county with a storm setting in. It's not worth the risk. We'll set off tomorrow at dawn. Now follow me. You can sleep up at the house. I don't want to sleep. Neither should you, I protested, raising my voice a little without meaning to. Didn't this man understand? Spook Johnson might be dead if we wait till morning. The spook took a step towards me and glowered. You listen to me, he said, an edge of anger in his voice. I will go. And I will do my best for Spook Johnson. But I'm the one who'll decide when and how. I'm the spook here. Do you understand? I nodded, suddenly afraid. I felt very much put in my place. Look, he might be dead already, Brother Werewolf, the spook continued, his voice softening. Besides, you look worn out. Get a good night's sleep. Tomorrow we'll be walking fast and taking a few rests. He turned without waiting for me to agree and strode off through the trees and up the hill. I trotted after him, but it was hard to keep up. If this was the speed at which we'd be walking to Salford, I certainly would need a good night's sleep first. Up ahead I could see a hawthorn hedge with a gap in it. It seemed to mark the edge of the garden. I could see long grass and trees beyond it, and a big house in the distance, dark against the fading light. But before we reached it, I heard a warning growl. It was deeper and more threatening than that of a dog. Some dangerous big beast was lurking somewhere ahead in the darkness of the trees. It made the hairs on the back of my head stand up. One knee started to wobble. The butcher had warned me about a boggart, but I dismissed that as casually as his other joke about Mr. Ward living with a witch. Spooks hunted boggarts and destroyed them, didn't they? They didn't keep them close. But now I felt a chill that told me that the danger ahead was real. I'd encountered a boggart twice before, and I knew they could kill easily. Mr. Ward came to a halt. Stand still, he told me softly. I obeyed, and he walked behind me, put down his staff, and placed both his hands on my shoulders. Cratch! 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 Listen well, he called out in a loud voice. This boy is under my protection. Harm not a hair of his head whilst he's within the boundaries that you control. There was another low growl, but this time it seemed further away. Then there was silence. So it really had been a boggart. The butcher told me that a boggart guarded your garden, but I didn't believe him, I cried in astonishment. Mr. Ward had called it Cratch. It even had a name. Yes, it guards the garden and even makes breakfast, he laughed as we moved on. Surely that had to be a joke. A domesticated boggart! I couldn't imagine what strange sights I might see in this odd house. And I was rather afraid to find out what they would be. Okay, that's it. Thanks very much for listening. I'll be back maybe in a couple more weeks to read some more from the early part of the book. Thank you very much. Bye.